Week 4 is in the books, and welcome to the Gadsden Times Football Review. I'm Teddy Couch. This is Kevin Taylor, and we had some interesting scores tonight.
We sure did, Teddy. Some big ball games, a couple upsets, some that we saw come right down to the wire, and some not so much upsets. Some that we figured that would end up be wins going away. Just a quick rundown of some of the scores just around the area. Coosa Christian over Decatur Heritage 54-42. Etowah over Southside 42-0. Bob Jones over Gadsden City 12-7. That was an interesting outcome, and we'll delve into that a little bit later. Woodland over Gadsden 45-38. Glencoe falls to Walter Welborn 40-0. Hoax Bluff over Anniston 28-18. Sardis 43-7 over Douglas. Ohatchee over Westbrook 37-30. Albertville falls to Coleman, should I say, 21-0. And Alexandria 66-14 over Crossville. A couple other games just to mention. Boaz over Pisgah 35-14. Boaz 5-0 on the season. Cedar Bluff 40-7 over Section, and Cherokee County over White Plains 22-13. We want to welcome everybody in to Facebook Live, and if you have any questions, please feel free to touch base with us on Facebook. And we want to thank our sponsor tonight, Allie's Carpet, who's been a great sponsor of us for this first year on Facebook Live with the Gadsden Times and the Gadsden Times Football Review. A couple things, be sure to go to thegadsdentimes.com. You'll see a number of photo galleries already posted, so go there right now and check out some really cool photos. You'll probably see some videos already, and I want to say probably some game stories are already there too, Teddy.
Yeah, probably heading up soon, and like Kevin said, just we want to thank Allie's Carpet, located across from Gadsden City High School. Thank them, and thank you for joining us. Hello to Sheila, and hello to Elizabeth and Reggie. We appreciate you staying up late and joining us. And Jeremy Scott said, "Go Southside Panthers," despite the loss tonight. So,
yeah, tough loss, I tell you. Etowah, number 2 in Class 5A, they just keep rolling, Teddy. This third shutout of the season, and back-to-back shutouts. They knocked off Sardis last week, and then they turn around and shut out Southside 42-0 tonight.
Yeah, that's where I was at tonight. Defense is this new week, same story with them. They just continue dominating. But the thing that really caught my eye tonight is the offense. I mean, the offense has played well all season long, but they've kind of struggled a little bit at times, but that was not the case tonight. 393 yards for Etowah, 229 passing. That's the interesting thing. Coach Drew Knowles, after the game, talked about how he messed with his quarterback rotation a little bit. Usually he would bring in Duricky for a series, and then the next series maybe it was Troop. But on this one, throughout one series, he would bring in Troop, and then one play Duricky would come out. So, I think that probably threw Southside off a little bit there.
Yeah.
And it worked. Troop was 8 of 11 for 145 yards with a 50-yard touchdown pass to Emil Smith. Duricky was 3 of 4 for 84 yards with 2 touchdown passes to DeAndrea Williams. I mean, offense was rolling tonight.
Well, and you got to give it to Coach Knowles. I mean, he is a true gamesman, if you will. He's going to keep a defense and an opposing team on their heels as much as possible, and he's not going to show any type trends or anything like that as far as the quarterbacks go. So, it's going to be like this throughout the entire season, where we're going to be guessing who's going to be a starting quarterback, how many different series will Duricky see, how many will Brady Troop see. That's going to be the question mark every week, week in, week out with Etowah.
Well, it's interesting you say that. I guess who else saw snaps at quarterback and meaningful snaps in the first half? Emil Smith.
Wow.
He even played a whole series.
Little wildcat action.
He was actually he threw a pass. I mean, it wasn't just all wildcat. You could tell there was a couple of times where he was going for a pass. One of them, the snap was kind of low, and he had to go back and fall on it on a fumble. But I mean, that was by design. He wanted, in terms of Emil playing, he wanted to put him back there at quarterback to see what he could do. So it's kind of interesting to see how that turned out for him. And he
Yeah.
wanted to throw different wrinkles at Southside because he knew they were coming off a bye week.
Yeah.
You know, he knew that they had plenty of time to watch to see what they've been doing, so he wanted to throw something a little different at them. And he said they've been pretty vanilla all season long offensively. He said they wanted to kind of build on things, and he thinks they're at that point now where they can start adding and advancing in their offense. That could be very scary.
Well, and you know, there again, Etowah being Etowah, you know, number 2 in the state, and they're showing why. And they, matter of fact, they've been getting a few first place votes in the Alabama Sports Writers poll, and I imagine they may get a couple more as the season progresses. That wasn't a surprise outcome. A surprise outcome tonight, I think, was Coosa Christian over Decatur Heritage, 54-42. I don't think any of us really thought, and to be quite honest, we didn't give Coosa Christian a shot to beat Decatur Heritage. But Dartavius Britton just went wild tonight. You know, 285 yards rushing, 5 touchdowns on runs of 54, 64, 2, 64, and 45 yards. Wow, what a game for him.
Coosa's always going to have a chance as long as he's carrying the football. It's just that simple. I mean,
Absolutely.
He's just explosive and electric out of the backfield, and obviously he proved that once again tonight.
Yeah, and I believe Caden Lipscomb at quarterback had a big game for Coosa as well. So, you know, with Britton being able to be successful running the ball, that kind of opens up the passing game for Coosa, I think, and that's kind of the book on Coosa. By opponents is if Britton can get on track, then that kind of opens up the passing game for Coosa. But you know, typically you would say, okay, the run is going to set up the pass, or the pass is going to set up the run. But with Coosa right now, the run sets up the pass, and obviously it worked well tonight.
Yeah, and in Coosa, we said 2 weeks ago after that lost R.A. Hubbard for Coosa that, you know, spy week was going to be big, and obviously they used it, and they used it to their advantage.
Right, right. And then R.A. Hubbard falls tonight to Falkville in region action. So right now, I think maybe the class of the region may be Falkville, but then, you know, you can't count out Coosa. I mean, there's too much football left to be played, so you never know what's going to happen. But you know, if you look at that region right now, I think you've got to say that Coosa is definitely a player to get into the playoffs. I think R.A. Hubbard's definitely a player to get into the playoffs, and Falkville. So, you know, where they end up, though, we still will have to wait and see.
Well, that's what's interesting. You know, Coosa's definitely a player for the playoffs, but not just that. I mean, they're a player to possibly host the first round of the playoffs, and that would be huge for Coosa.
Absolutely, absolutely. Again, we want to thank everybody for joining us on Facebook Live. If you have any questions, please feel free to chime in. We'd love to hear from you, and thanks for staying up with us. We want to thank Allie's Carpet for being a sponsor tonight, and be sure, like we said, go to thegadsdentimes.com and check out photo galleries, videos, and game stories from tonight's games. And even if you want to look back and see some of the other games that we photographed and covered, you know, coming into week 4. And then, of course, you know, we're about ready to turn the page, and we're about to hit the midway point of the season. I can't believe we're almost at the midway point of high school football. I mean, it just seems like just yesterday we were gearing up and getting ready for the season to start, and now we're almost at the halfway mark.
It's crazy. It feels like we just were in here recapping the Etowah Gadsden City game for our first Gadsden Times football review. It's been a lot of fun, and there's still, like you said, still a lot of football left.
Sure is, sure is, and I think it's going to get even more exciting as we progress.
Absolutely. Let's see, West End was off tonight, so you know they'll get back in action next week. They're going to be hosting Raglan in a non-region matchup. What about Hoax Bluff tonight?
Hoax Bluff does what Hoax Bluff does. I mean, you know, 28-18 winner over Anniston. You know, that game final is not very surprising to me because it seems like Anniston always gives Hoax Bluff a really good game. and playing over in Anniston. Obviously, that's what happened tonight. You know, Darren Means, 143 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns, and just the Hoax Bluff train just keeps rolling. They're number 2 in 4A, and you know, they show again the reason why they are ranked one of the top teams in the state. They just keep trucking.
Absolutely, and then a big game for them next week. They got Glencoe. And that's always a fun rivalry game. I know Glencoe's a little down last night, and Glencoe had another region loss tonight. Was it 40-0 against Walter Welborn?
Yeah, a tough loss, 40-0. Walter Welborn, 386 yards of total offense. Glencoe, 64 yards of total offense. You know, obviously that right there just tells you the whole story right there is Glencoe has got to try to find some offense to get a win.
And what a tough loss for Gadsden City.
Yeah, 12-7, lost to Bob Jones. Gadsden City ended up being up 7-0 going in at the half. Bob Jones was driving, got to the Gadsden City 5-yard line. Bob Jones fumbles the ball. Gadsden picks up, scoop, and score 95 yards for a touchdown to go up 7-0. Then Bob Jones comes back, scores a touchdown, and they missed the extra point. And so Gadsden City's up 7-6. Bob Jones turns around again, scores a touchdown with 3:05 left in the game to what you thought may be the game winner, and it ended up being the game winner. But then Gadsden City drives from their 33 and gets down to the 3-yard line, and on 4th and goal from the 3, could not punch it in. And so, Gadsden City takes another tough loss, drops to 0-5, still looking for a region win. And, like I said, I don't think Gadsden City's in the history of the school itself has ever been 0-5 to start the season.
I know 2 years ago was when they were 0-4 and ended up making that semifinal run. And last year, I want to say they started out 0-3. So it's been some rough starts for Gadsden City here as of late in recent years. And fortunately for them, they have a bye week. But then after that, it does not get any easier. I mean, we say that
James
every
Clemens.
week, but it's just facts. I mean, they got James Clemens, who beat Bob Jones earlier in the year. So, I mean, that's going to be a tough one. But at least they have a bye week to, kind of go over things and get ready for the Jets.
Yeah. And it's not going to be an easy win.
Absolutely not. And Westbrook had a wild one.
Yeah, 37-30 over lost to Ohatchee. This game kind of went back and forth for a little bit. The thing that I really noticed in this game, and I was there for the first half, the one thing that I saw from a defensive standpoint for Westbrook is the gap integrity. That really hurt them in terms of what Ohatchee being able to find that hole and find it in a certain gap. And there was a couple plays there, especially to the right side of Westbrook's defensive line, and their quarterback and their running back was able to find that specific gap right there, and they kept just plugging away. And, they ended up coming away with a 37-30 victory. Now, Westbrook got the onside kick after drawing 37-30, and I thought, oh my gosh, they're about to tie this thing up, but they just could not punch it in and tie the game. So, tough loss. Certain things that I saw tonight with Westbrook, turnovers wasn't so much of a factor, but mental errors really kind of got Westbrook. Like I said, gap integrity on the defensive line, but then, bad mental error, when Westbrook went up, or should I say Ohatchee went up 14-6, their quarterback ended up breaking off and on a first play went for a touchdown. And, things like that just can't happen Westbrook has to play almost perfect football in order to beat a team like Ohatchee, who's ranked number 4 in the state.
Yeah, and it seems like with them, we were saying before, in our preview show this week, that if Westbrook can get this win, that could help them take that next step.
Yep.
But it kind of feels like, even though they had a tough loss, that maybe they still took that next step, though. I mean, they showed that they can compete with the big dogs in that region.
Yeah, and, I didn't think that, honestly, that Westbrook would be able to really stay close with Ohatchee, because, I mean, you coming in and you see that Ohatchee's ranked number 4 in the state. Westbrook, they played some pretty solid football coming in. I thought that maybe, Ohatchee would be a couple touchdowns better
I agree.
than Westbrook.
Yeah.
But there again, Westbrook never gave up. That's the one thing that I can say about this team, having seen them play live now, is that they do not give up on themselves, and they play clean football. And what I mean by clean football is that they do not turn the ball over, and you really have to work hard as a defense to try to get them to make mistakes. And that's a rare thing right now with Westbrook, is that they do not really beat themselves.
Wow.
A couple mentals here, and obviously that was the swinging point of the game.
Mm-hmm. We have a couple of comments. Jeremy said, bye week didn't help Southside, and I believe that's why Etowah coach Drew Knowles, made that little bit of a change with the quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
Throwing a little bit of a curveball with putting DeRicke in. He started at quarterback, by the way, and I believe that's the first time he's started at quarterback this season for Etowah. But also bringing in Troop and DeRicke in the same series. I don't think they've done that this year either, and that's something Southside probably was not expecting. So that's probably why the bye week didn't help.
Yeah.
And also, Elizabeth asked, is Boaz, Etowah, and Hoax Bluff, Jacksonville going to be the big games this year? And also, that falls on the same week. That's going to be.
Yeah. What is that, week 9, I think it is,
so.
if I'm not mistaken. Huge ball games. Like I said, like we mentioned, Boaz 5-0. I had to have to go back and look, but it may be when Boaz finished the season undefeated back in, I want to say 1979 maybe. This is the first time that Boaz has been 5-0 in quite some time. So, they're playing really sound football, 35-14 over Pisgah. And, next week they've got a huge showdown with Albertville. Now, Albertville fell tonight 21-0 to Coleman, but with those two teams being literally just miles away from each other, that's a huge rivalry game. So throw out the record books, whatever we talk about leading up to that game won't matter a hill of beans. It's just going to matter of who executes and who makes the fewest mistakes to win the ball game, and that's going to be huge in that game. So, it's going to be a great game. I think, it'll be one that we'll be talking about quite a bit.
For sure. And did we touch on Gadsden?
Gadsden, a tough loss tonight. 45-38 to Woodland. That was one of those games. It was kind of a toss-up game in terms of picking that game.
That was tough. That was a really tough one.
And Gadsden just jumps out of the gate looking really strong against Woodland, and then Woodland scores 31 unanswered points to win. 39 unanswered points to beat Gadsden. Wow.
That's tough. I was talking to Swain Morrison. I'm not sure, I wasn't there, but I know they had a couple of turnovers as the game progressed. But he was saying we cannot, have self-inflicting wounds. We cannot do that. We can't have turnovers. Penalties hurt them last week, and it sounds like possibly turnovers could hurt them again this week.
Yeah.
That's a tough loss.
Yeah, and then too, even though I wasn't there, I kind of wonder too, do you run out of gas?
Right.
Tonight was just, my gosh, it was really hot. I mean, if any of you guys were at a ball game tonight,
yeah.
I mean, it was hot. It was sticky. The humidity must have been a bazillion %. I don't know,
Yeah.
but it was probably one of the the conditions just weren't. We're about to go into fall. Tomorrow's the first day of fall. It didn't feel like it tonight. I mean, summer, it just went out and said, no, we're not going away.
Right.
But there again, this is Alabama, and I've told a few people, and I make no bones about it. Sometimes I feel like, winter and fall have been outlawed in Alabama. So, but, we'll see. Next week we've got some big games. Like I said, Albertville Boaz, huge game. Etowah goes to Fort Payne. That's a big game. Fort Payne, mind you, is a they've had a lot of losses in terms of returning players. Got a new football coach, but still, that's going to be a big game. Hoax Bluff, Glencoe, as inter-county rivalry, another big game there. So, week 5 is going to be interesting, and we hope everybody joins us. Again, thank you to Allie's Carpet for being a sponsor of tonight's football review. They'll be a sponsor for us in the weeks ahead too, and I know they want to see a Gadsden City victory. I want to see a Gadsden City victory, but to be quite honest, time is running out.
Right, and that bye, like I said, that bye week's coming up at a good time for them. Maybe they can look at some things, get some things fixed before they play James Clemens, because that's going to be a toughie.
Yeah, I think we got a question on Facebook. Do we not?
Donald wants to know the Hoax Bluff score.
Hoax Bluff ended up winning tonight, 28-18. Donna, Darian Means just being Darian Means.
Yeah.
143 yards, 2 touchdowns. This guy, I tell you, he's well on his way to probably another 2,000-yard season.
Yeah, Meads, I want to say that's probably the least amount of yards he's rushed for in a game so far this year.
Yeah, that might be.
And that's not too bad of a way to start the year.
No, I mean, there's a number of running backs probably around the area, anywhere, wish they had 143 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. So, kind of maybe an off night for him, but that may be his lowest output of the season all year.
I think Coach Mike Robertson over at Hoax Bluff is perfectly fine with that being an off night for Darian Meads, no doubt about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But thank you for joining us tonight. We thank you for your comments. We hope you continue joining us throughout the season. We're going to try to come on around 11 o'clock every Friday game night and talk to you guys and just respond to your questions and just tell you about the games that we saw. And like Kevin said, go to GadsdenTimes.com where you can find photo galleries, videos, articles from the night's games. And we thank you for joining us, and we thank Allie's Carpet for sponsoring the show tonight.
Yep, and then also don't forget, Wednesdays and sometimes on Thursdays, go to the Gadsden Times YouTube channel or even go to Facebook and check out our kickoff show where we'll preview the games and make predictions in terms of the games ahead. But as far as week 4, it's wrapped up. Some tough losses tonight, some shockers, and some of our teams like Etowah and Hoax Bluff, number 2 teams in the state, doing what they need to do to remain number 2 and maybe even make a push for number 1.
Right.
And it's we're at the halfway point, folks, and it's only going to get better. But we thank you for your time. Our time is out. And again, we thank you for yours. We'll see you down the road.